My name is Dallas. I have the privilege of working at the Joshua Wilderness Institute alongside many dear friends over here you'll get to know over the course of this next hour and a half, 2 hours. Thank you for coming. This is a real treat to see you, friends and family who have loved these Joshua students throughout the course of the last 9 months. You supported them, oftentimes probably through questions like, what are you even doing? But we're so thankful that you're here with us this afternoon to celebrate a substantial achievement that these friends have completed. As we get going, I'd love to say thank you to some people who've been involved in Joshua this year, but also involved in the lives of students. First, many of you probably know that we've had families that your students have been adopted into this year. We call them pause families. It's a place where they can pause from everything that's happening in the program and just spend time with a family, have a home-cooked meal, have a game night. And if you were a pause family this year, would you please stand? Thank you, Pause Families, for your discipleship this year in partnership with us and with the students towards knowing and loving God. Next, we have some teachers that I'd love to thank for this year. One of them couldn't be here, Aaron, but we have one of our theology teachers, Evan, over here. As you walked in, you might have noticed something that was hanging up right outside or right inside of the doors here, and that is a large quilt that is hanging up. And maybe you're wondering, why on earth is there a quilt hanging up that has a bunch of weird squares all over it that I have no understanding what it means? Well, actually, that is our yearbook. For the last 24 years, Joshua students have been making a quilt at the end of the year to celebrate and remember their year. And so before you leave this building after today, make sure that you go and you look at that quilt, stand with your student and ask, what does this all mean? It's such a cool story of this year, and there's some really funny things on there. But one of the people I'd love to thank is actually the person who quilted that and put a lot of work into it. So she's on staff with us, Cassidy Voss. So we spent the week before we went internationally with Turkey working on these squares. And we pushed hard, right guys?
Yeah.
So we pushed hard to get these squares done, and then we overnighted them to Idaho. And then we went to Turkey, and on the plane ride back and in the hotels, we created one last square. We landed in LAX, and then Cassidy flew directly to Boise, Idaho, and spent an entire day quilting that whole thing. It was an unbelievable feat, so thank you. I've said before, but thank you, family members and friends, for supporting these students throughout this year, for being involved in their lives, and for allowing them to come live in the woods for 9 months. So, thank you. I'd also like to thank broadly our Hume Lake community of partners and people that we got to have involved in the program this year. Many of your students, actually all of your students, worked in many different departments throughout this year, from food service to accommodation to grounds to activities to concessions. There was all kinds of places they worked. Hume, if you live here and you're part of that, we thank you very much. We'd also like to thank the Hume Lake Community Fellowship Church. These students were adopted into the church this year, and they made the church better. It was an amazing experience to have them volunteering when they didn't have to watch kids, to just be in church and to be a part of the community, and we'd love to thank the elders of the Community Fellowship, so thank you. I'd also like to thank, there is a person in the room who has just been a huge help and support to myself and our team and our staff, and that is my boss, Brian. lastly, I would love to thank for this year and the support that I experienced and the Joshua students experienced from her as well, and that is my wife, Julie. And my kids, Coral, Jack, and Maisie. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this. I'd like to welcome up Jen Smith, one of the directors of Joshua.